Hello, students. So over the last week and into this coming module, we will or have been discussing communities and the people who live there. You did a walkabout, took some observations, you were making judgments upon those observations. And now it's time to start looking at data, statistical, empirical data. Some people would like to do this in reverse. I feel the problem with that is that if you look at data first and you start looking at statistics first, then they start driving what you want to see. I think it's better to start the other way around, go into your community with a very blank slate and then start observing and then coming back and using your data and your statistics to start verifying or proving some of your assumptions. So let's do that with our module. You will find in your module some links to community analysis websites. This is helpful for doing community analysis online. You will be doing some community analysis either for this class or as you go out into the field. And I believe the best place to start is with the United States Census. The United States Census is the #1 spot for collecting data about communities. You shouldn't be a surprise to you. The problem with census data is that the census is only taken every 10 years. And we are now in the midst of collecting census data, but the pandemic threw us all off. The last one was done in 2010. The current one should have been done in 2020, but because of the pandemic and politics has thrown this into some sort of a disarray. But they are still working on it and it should be completed soon. We'll have a whole new census of data to look at. The current data that you would want to find is also available on census, but these are projections and they are also estimates. Okay, so first thing I want to point out at the census is they have an incredible amount of data available to you. You can explore the data here under the tab that says Explore Data. One thing I wanted to bring to your attention on this homepage is the Census Academy. You will find an incredible array of programs and topics that have video and tutorials along with them, how to visualize data from a table using data census. Why is microdata? What is microdata and why should I use it? These sorts of things are quite helpful. And if you have the time to explore these this summer, I would completely encourage you to do that. If you don't have time, you can use the United States Census Quick Facts here. And the Quick Facts is just a way for you to immediately grab a table and show information about it. Up at the very top here, you see a search box where you can enter a state, a county, a city, or even a zip code or census block. I'm going to put in a zip code. Let's use 90210. And it shows me that that's Beverly Hills. I'm going to click on that. And immediately I get a table here, Beverly Hills City compared to the United States. So you have population. Now, it is most likely that the information that you will gather the easiest is demographic data. Demographic data, numbers about people, places and things that live in a particular area, a particular community. So you see here the 2019 population estimates for the Beverly Hills City. Okay, if you click on any one of these, let's say a high school graduate or higher, you'll get some more specific information about that. So spend some time looking at the quick facts of your community, and you should easily retrieve information about it. Let's look at another favorite of mine called Data USA. Data USA is actually, oh, and by the way, on the community analysis page that I have linked for you in Canvas, I do have some annotated information about all these. For instance, Data USA is actually provided by Deloitte and Touche, which is a UK company, quite respected. However, you can also do some information collection and observation about United States cities. Is quite well respected, as I said. Let's look at cities and places here. And I want to find a profile of, say, let's say Puma, Arizona. We'll just click on one of these rather than wasting my time. This is actually Puma, Benton County in Puma, Arizona. What you'll see here now is just a quick brief snapshot of some of the demographic data, poverty rate, population, etc. But there is an incredible amount of information available on this page. Employment by industry sector, community mobility, how long it takes for people to go from one spot to another, political makeup. Okay, there's just so much here. I'm not even halfway down on the page, and the amount of information is incredible. Wage by gender and common jobs in that county. I could literally spend hours diving into some of this stuff. Okay, so look at Data USA. Along the same lines as city data, which is collected through phone books, and we can also use zip codes with this, which I find extremely helpful. 92223, let's use that. Okay, again, we get information from the 2010 census. Nice charts if you want to pick those up. Property values, weather, common weather, crime rates, etc. Okay. One of the things that I use city data for is to see what media outlets are in certain cities, or what media outlets serve certain cities. I often got questions at the reference desk when I was working at Reference by people who say, "Oh, I'm moving to Beaumont, California. What newspapers are there? What are the television stations, etc. What are the news stations there?" And this is a good spot to do that. Okay, let's look at I didn't get Census Scope. I wanted to show you Census Scope as well, because it takes the data from 2010, although they're waiting for data for 2020 as well. But you can use it to make some pretty interesting charts. You know, showing data is always a problem, particularly in a presentation. Showing data can really cloud people's minds. So seeing the data projected on a bar chart or a graph is extremely helpful. And this site I've used to do that. One of the things that you can do on Census Scope is look at state data by clicking on a state. Or you can go into the site, and over here on the right side, or up at the top now, they've moved it, are charts and trends. Click on that, pick a location. Now they don't have, you can't use zip codes here, but you can choose one out of, I think, 100 metropolitan areas. Let's try Cincinnati. And then pick a trend chart. We'll say population growth. So, no, didn't, crazy Wayne. Okay, you got to pick the chart first, people. Now we'll do Anchorage this time. and chart. Okay, so this is the population growth in Anchorage from 1960 to 2000. You can see a nice healthy growth there. You can also look though, say the age distribution in Anchorage, or how the populations migrate there, the ancestry and ethnicity of the state. Again, grabbing these sorts of charts are helpful in presenting the census data. Zip Lookup by Aircy, fascinating website. And again, spend some time looking at it. We'll start exploring now. Enter a zip code, say, since it's on my mind now. Now I'm using all of these websites for free. A lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them provide basic information for free, but diving into them either at a more drilled in specific level would require money, and companies pay literally millions of dollars to get this sort of data. So this is the community of Beaumont, and it shows me something called segmentation. Segmentation is something that I'll discuss in just a minute, but it breaks up the United States into segments of a population. Sometimes it's up to 100 segments, sometimes it's down to 50, and each segment would have specific qualities, social, economic, and political qualities that all cities and counties and zip codes within the United States could be attributed to. This particular city, Beaumont, has 3 segments: the up and coming families, the Boombirds, and the Pleasantville. So let's take a look at these segments in particular. I've clicked on up and coming families. Young, diverse, mobile. We traded a longer commute time for an affordable new home in a new suburban development. We shop for the best deals. We spend our free time on movies at home, trips to theme parks and the zoo, and working out. Clicking for more details takes me to a whole huge amount of information about this particular segment, of which one of 3 which Beaumont has in its 3 segments. Socioeconomic traits, race and ethnicity. And I particularly like, as a collection developer, this market profile. For this particular area, people in Beaumont, the largest segment in Beaumont, rely on the internet for entertainment, information, shopping, and banking. They prefer imported SUVs or compact cars, late models, carry debt. They find leisure in family activities, movies at home, trips to theme parks or the zoo, and sports for golfing. Can you see value in that sort of information as a collection developer, deciding what to select for your library? If you knew, of course, this particular segment, the largest in the area, prefers watching movies at home, you might focus more of your collection funding on DVDs or licensing of streaming media. Let's look at USA.com. You might have heard of this. It's been featured on CNN and other news shows about its usefulness. Browse by state or map, or again, I believe you can do a nice zip code. This is more brief, basic information reported here from the census. Population shown here. Income and careers, what are the top careers in the area? Housing, education, etc. Don't want to spend too much time on these. Neighborhood Scout, love Neighborhood Scout as well. I know I'm saying that a lot. Let's do Calexico. Again, they use segmentation to break up the area into certain segments. they found areas. Oh, I didn't know it was that close to the border. See, I learn things every day. You can get a report up here. Now, this is one that if you got the basic report, it's free. But if you go into a larger, create a more detailed report, it would cost you money. But you can certainly look at basic information. Real estate prices, notable unique neighborhood characteristics. Again, this is quite useful for selectors and collection developers. Who the neighbors are, how they get to work, etc. So you see how this information can also be useful. And up at the top here, you have links to the various aspects of that community. Zip isn't, again, you can look by zip code. One of the best things about this particular site, although I'm not happy with its, it makes money by showing ads and advertisement. So I'm not really happy about that, but you can use it to compare, do an advanced demographic comparison about different communities. The last one I wanted to show you is, again, a geodemography, the segmentation. We'll do a zip code lookup here. And Claritas, which is a service that is operated by the Nielsen Group. You might be aware of the Nielsen Group. They do all the what's the most popular TV show every week, the Nielsen ratings. It is this aspect of geodemography, and I explain it in the crash course book at length. But basically, the concept is we are what our neighbors have. In other words, birds of a feather flock together. We tend to live in communities that mirror our needs, wants, and demands. And in this particular, I put 92223 again. This is Beaumont. It uses 60, I think, segments of a population, and it's found 5 of them in this particular segment. If you click on one of them, you can learn a little bit more about each of the segments. Again, lifestyle traits, owns a Hyundai, eat at the Texas Roadhouse, shops at Sam's Club, stays at Embassy Suites, attends the Speedway Motorsports, listens to radio via internet, uses TuneIn streaming services. So I would then, if I, were selecting materials, I might look at Sam's Club for what's being marketed in that store. What books do they have in their store for sell? Looking at Hyundai ownership manuals, etc. So using these sorts of websites to get information about a community can be extremely helpful. I leave you then to explore all of the websites, and there are bundles that I provided for you. I then think I've asked you to use the discussion posts for this module to look at these websites. Just go through them, go through five or six of them, and find information about a certain community. I give you the instructions on that discussion, and then post those factoids, if you will. So have fun, explore, and enjoy. All right, everyone. Thanks again, and have a good rest of your week. And